Cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. First of all, I think I have a cold. I'm not sure. Maybe allergies. We'll figure it out. Now, today I'm going to talk about the prison that I think in the 90s was probably the most dangerous and treacherous prison in the CDC. I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, Calipatria, when it opened up, and, New Folsom and Pelican Bay, they're going to say different prisons. And that's fine. That's what we agree to disagree. But I'm going to tell you right now the reason why I say that, right? So, Tehachapi in the 90s was a place where convicts were killing convicts, right? That happens in all the other prisons. So that's where, okay, it is what it is. But what set Tehachapi apart was Tehachapi, I apologize for my camera. I don't know why it keeps doing this. But Tehachapi had guards killing convicts at a rate unlike any other prison. And hold on. There we go. I turned on the backlight right there, so hopefully that helps. As I was saying, the guards in Tehachapi were killing convicts at a higher rate than any other prison in the 90s. Think about that. In the 90s, late 80s into around the mid 90s, you had the gladiator fights in Corcoran Shoe. Corcoran Shoe killed 12 inmates. The officers killed 12 inmates in a certain time span, right? During that same time span, Tehachapi guards killed 13. So they killed one more without the setup fights. Tehachapi was treacherous. Now, I'm going to tell a little story. I'm going to say this guy's name, not his neighborhood. And the reason why is because it's easier for me to just keep my train of thought, right? So I get out of the shoe, and I've talked about some of this before in other videos. So I got out of the shoe in 1997, the end of 1997, around the end of 1997, right? I was in orientation, and I wind up selling up with this dude, Monroe, right? And he's like, man, they're setting me up. And I said, who? And he goes, the Judas. I said, how? He goes, they're sending me to Tehachapi. I said, I'm going there too. He said, hey, well, let's hook up. We'll blast somebody, this and this and that. I said, I'm down. And he goes, yeah, well, this is what we'll do. Red flag. I said, what? He said, we'll get down there. We'll get a few visits. We'll hit some dope. We'll make some fed. I was like, hold up, Holmes. I thought you just said we're going to go whack somebody. See, because at the time, back then in Tehachapi, if you were a raza from Southern California, you landed there, you could not be there more than 90 days. You were going to have some definite problems if you were there more than 90 days, right? So my thing was, as soon as I get there, I'm going to locate a target, and I'm getting my money, right? This dude sounded like he was talking about setting up camp, setting up shop. So that was our first interaction, was like, hey, Holmes, I think you got it mixed up, and I could tell he didn't like it. But obviously, he and I had two completely different mindsets when it came to what was going to happen when we got down there, right? Now, we were there. I think we were waiting for our bus for about 3 months, and we were on B facility together in Pelican Bay. And, he was telling everybody, yeah, they're sending me to Tehachapi, man. They're sending me to Tehachapi. And Vatos was like, feed me. Vatos are going to get some points over there because it was a trash yard. It was what you could call right now a 50-50 yard. They were sending dudes from the shoe, from the 180s, solid dudes, to that yard where it was a junkyard, and vatos were getting out of the shoe or getting transferred from 180, asking for a family, a visit closer, a prison closer to home so they could see their family. The Judas would set them up, send them there. They'd whack somebody, sometimes end people's, take their win from them, and catch a whole new case. It was a whole thing, right? So those few months, I think it was 3 months that we were running around on B Yard in Pelican Bay. Those of us that were going to be going all found out who they were. Boom, boom, boom. So we knew, okay, this is what we're going to do when we get there. And but oh boy, Malo, he was always late. Like when they would call yard recall, he'd be wandering the yard, and it became apparent he was trying to get a 115. He was trying to get a write-up because the write-up would have killed his transfer. So he's starting to look very suspect, right? And I used to get on him like, hey, what you doing, huh? You trying to get out of that transfer or what? No, I had to do something. Fool, there was nobody there. Like, you were the last one. Everybody's in front of the buildings. Also, because this is important, while me and Monroe were cellies in orientation, I remember one day we were in a cell next to the shower. This vato comes down for a shower next to our cell, and Monroe's on the door. Hey, homie, what's up, homie? How you been? Hey, homie, this and that. Like they were the best of friends. And I was like, hey, who is that, eh? And I'm not going to say this dude's name in neighborhood, but he said his name in neighborhood, right? And I was like, I don't know who he is. And but I asked him, I said, hey, is he staying or is he getting transferred too? He's like, I don't know. I said, ask him. So we asked him, and he's like, nah, I'm getting transferred. And I said, where's he going? He said, let me ask him. So we asked him, and the guy says, I'm gonna get transferred to New Folsom. Well, at the time, my road dog was in New Folsom, right? So I was like, shit, you really know this vato? And he's like, homie, he's firme. I go, so I could give him a hot weed line to take to my homeboy. And he goes, yeah. I go, ask him. And he goes, yeah, no problem. So the next time he came down for showers, I had it. Obviously, I had some things in there coated up, right? My cellie gives the dude the kite. He goes back to his cell. The next day, new vatos came from the shoe into orientation with us. Guess what? My cellie's buddy that he's always talking to in the showers, good vato, co-sign for him, was no good and wasn't going to New Folsom. So I tell my cellie, I was like, hey, Holmes, I'm going to just give you some advice. And, other vatos would probably have you whacked for co-signing for that dude, eh? I'm not, because obviously I see you just don't know what you're doing, Holmes. Like, you need to slow your roll. Make sure you know somebody before you co-sign for him. Apparently that was strike 2 for me in his mind, but he never let it be known, right? You're right, homeboy. You're right. Now, we're on our way. We're going to all go to Tehachapi, right? And as I've told you guys in other stories, I sat in R&R. I looked around. Everybody was my age except one bottle. And this dude was an OG, been doing time since the 70s. Had several bodies, even while incarcerated. So I went over to him and I was like, look, man, I'm really trying to catch a body on this one. And he said, me too. I said, well, then you want to sell up? He said, yeah. Everybody else my age was just, there was some cool dudes in that tank with us, but they were just more like, it was just a game. I don't know. So we go down there and we catch a transfer. We almost all got off on the Juras in fucking R&R in Delano. But I want to get to this. because I don't want to have this video go on forever. There's other stories I can tell about Tehachapi if you guys want. So we go down there, and right away, the guy that he co-signed for was on the bus with us. There was him and another dude that we knew. Okay, those are targets, but they were very low priority targets. There's really no money in them, if you guys know what I mean. So we're like, okay, we know who these two are, but there's big fish to fry on the yard. That's what people were looking for, right? Well, as I've said in other videos, my Sally and I, imagine this. My Sally and I, dudes drop kites on us. So we were in orientation with everyone else that was on the bus with us. And as soon as we went to committee, they snatched my Sally up. He went in before me. A couple other dudes went. Then it was my turn. Boom, I get snatched up. We get thrown in that SAG. While in that SAG, I get off on the yard in that SAG. Then they say they're going to transfer me to 4B. I whack a dude in R&R. Go right back to my cell, right? And the days are ticking. The days are ticking. The days are ticking. 90 days goes by. Where's Monroe at? So when he finally comes, he came with the he came with a crew. He came with a crew of dummies, several of which had been out there over 90 days. Guess who they decided to plot on? So the co-signer of this fucking weirdo, his shower buddy, he co-signed for him, running around the yard in the bay in front of everybody trying to get a 115 to get out of his transfer. I got off twice already. Never even saw the fucking yard. And I get wind that him and other dudes that were out there more than 90 days are plotting on me because they feel I'm pushing the line too hard on them. Hey, man, but that's prison. You know, this is why I tell people all the time, man, don't get it twisted and think that, you know, when you go to prison, you're going to be around people that are going to be willing to die for you. They will. They have to. They don't want to, but they will because they have to, right? But they also plot on you if you're giving them good advice. I gave Monroe very good advice. In closing, I'll say, let me tell one other story about Monroe, and then we're going to end this video. Years later, when I get sent to New Folsom C facility, right? Monroe's on B facility, and he was beefing with somebody else, and the other dude slapped him, man. Slapped the dog shit out of him on the yard. What do you think Monroe did? I'll give you a second to think, to answer. What do you think Monroe did? He ate it and then went crying. He wrote a letter to somebody who was somebody. That person got at one of his equals who was a friend of the guy that did the slapping, right? And so he asked him, hey, why did you slap Monroe? The homie got the letter and he wrote back and he said, because he's a bitch. And the guy wrote back to him and said, yeah, but you can't walk around slapping every bitch you see. There you go. There's another prison story for you guys, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out.